What's up, Cinephiles? For this episode, i-review namin ang Four Sisters Before the Wedding, directed by May Zarina Alviar. Now, bago kami magsimula, if you are new to our channel, consider leaving a like and subscribing to us for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. Now, Kevin, tungkol saan itong movie na to?
Okay, Four Sisters Before the Wedding, prequel siya ng cult classic Star Cinema movie Four Sisters and a Wedding. I know, alam na alam niyo tong movie na to probably because you've seen a lot of memes and yung clips na sobrang nag-viral. Actually, number 1 siya in Netflix in so many days, so you probably saw this one, but for the sake of giving the gist of this story, we have here the four sisters. Salazar sisters are scheming again to bring back their parents because their relationship is on the brink of divorce just in time for the 20th anniversary. So in here we have Bobby Salazar, which is originally played by Belle Alonzo, now played by Alexa Ilacad. Alex Salazar, originally played by Angel Locsin, now played by Gillian Vicencio. Teddy Salazar, played by Charlie Dizon as the younger version, which was originally played by Toni Gonzaga, and young Gabby Salazar, played by Belle Mariano, originally played by Shaina Magdayao. And we also have here the parents of the Salazar, Grace and Kaloy, played by Carmina, Villaroel, and Dominic, Ochoa.
Yung Four Sisters and a Wedding, sabi mo nga, is a cult classic hit. Dito sa Philippines, talagang na-meme yung movie na yun. Alam niyo yung mga classic memes na yun. Yung eksena yung kay Mocha Uson, yung bakit parang kasalanan ko ni Bea Alonzo. So, we all know that movie. And admittedly, personally, I enjoyed that film. I found it funny. Medyo naantig din yung damdamin ko sa movie na yun. It explores a lot in terms of family dynamics. So, I really enjoyed that. I've watched it probably more than once ever since nung release niya way back 2013. Tama ba yun, Kebs?
Yeah.
2013 release yung movie na yun. So, itong Four Sisters Before the Wedding, I expected somewhat na medyo mag-enjoy sa kanya. Because this is a prequel, so this is back in the teenage years of the four siblings, and ang pinaka-enjoyable element ng movie na to para sa akin is the way they act like how they were in the first film. Tulad ng character ni Teddy Salazar dito, played by Toni Gonzaga dun sa first film. Yung actress dito is na-portray yung kanyang pagiging taklesa or yung mataray. Napakita dito ng actress yung pagiging reserve and pagiging matalino nung character ni Bobby. Yung pagiging boyish dito ni Alex, yung pagiging conservative dito ni Gabby. Yun yung pinaka nakakatuwang element sa akin ng movie na to is how they act, how consistent it is dun sa mga personalities nila during the first film. And the next thing na na-enjoy ko sa movie na to is how much nostalgia it gave me during those times. Yung mga Yahoo Messenger, yung mga cellphone, mga nilalaro natin nun, yung Snake, yung ating mga sort of pagka-obsess sa mga bands. I have a question though. I don't recall na yung mga phones na yun ay may speaker phones. May speaker ba yung mga phones?
Actually, napaisip din ako dun eh. Pero sige.
Yeah. So, yun yung mga elements na na-enjoy ko sa film. I found those fun. But unfortunately, I think that this movie is just trying to do a bit too much. You have this plot about possible na paghihiwalay ng parents nila. You have this plot thread about dun sa lola nila who is not really para dun sa father nila. And on top of that is bawat Salazar sisters is going on through, of course, a mandatory romantic subplot. Meron ditong spy. I just think that this film is trying to go on too many fronts. Kaya ang nangyari is medyo hindi naging successful. Hindi swabe kumbaga yung delivery para sa akin. Gusto ko lang rin sabihin dito yung napaka-blatant na product endorsements para sa reviews ko. It's in the entire movie, man. Like, in the entire movie. At first, medyo natatawa ko. Are they trying to make this as some sort of gag? Pero as the movie keeps going on, na-realize ko, it's not a gag. It's endorsement. Na-distract ako doon. But how about you, Kevin? What can you say about this film?
Lakas maka-MMFF pagka may product placement eh, no? Pero alam mo, yung pinaka nag-benefit talaga dito is yung release ko talaga. Kasi, ewan ko, nakakaabot hanggang weddings, di ba? Para parang ibang level ang reviews ko siniserve sa weddings. Pero actually, nung una ko narinig tong project na to, na-excite ako kasi I really love the movie. First movie, riot family comedy na may drama, pero pumapatok siya sa lasa ng Pinoy. Yun yung one of the best Star Cinema movies for me. And in here, I can see that the prequel tries to emulate the same formula. So we also have here the four sisters mostly on their dynamic. Actually, wala namang medyo nagbago, diba? Pero we're practically seeing younger versions of themselves. And the acting was spot on. Charlie Dizon here as Teddy. Kumakuha niya yung pagka-outlandish ng character. Though I personally prefer ko siya sa more on dramatic roles. And then Gillian Vicencio, I haven't seen this girl act. So I was surprised na kuha niya yung angst ni Alex, yung pagka-prim and proper ni Alex sa Ilacad dun sa character ni Bobby. For Gabby here, yung innocence, yung purity ng character niya. So, I enjoyed seeing those nuances and mannerisms play out. Strongest suit ng movie, yung cast. And then, we also have here something that's about snooping around. Actually, may ganong plotline din dun sa original film. This type of plot thread lies on a lot of assumptions and it's something that can easily be resolved if nag-usap na lang sila. So, tapos na yung movie, diba? I guess since this is a comedy, I can tolerate it. It's just that pagdating ng third act, you realize na medyo messy and convoluted talaga siya. And then we have this mandatory romantic subplot kasi nga young adults. Actually, I wasn't so thrilled about that because it almost seemed obligatory na these young females needed to be tied up over some guy. The only essential part here, siguro yung kay Chad because as you know, there's a history, there's a love triangle between Alex and Bobby here. I guess I already got what I needed for that love triangle. So to see it play out here is not so exciting. Then actually medyo na-confused pa nga ako kasi itong particular love story triangle na to, may resolution siya sa huli. So it makes you question why are they fighting over the same guy pagdating do sa original film which is set years after nito, no? As a whole, I actually bought them naman as a family. It just came to a realization na this movie tries to do so many things and then in the end, the resolutions are rushed. Hindi ganun ka-deep yung naging examination per character. I was looking for a moment na, oh yeah, kaya pala sila ganoon. Pero it's mostly pandering references from the original film. Like, I don't feel like the movie is confident enough to rely on its own and it's fine, you know, copying the same formula but a little originality and a little more identity would have definitely helped to separate this film from the original film. And I'm not actually even mad na may Zoom call sa simula to introduce our original characters. Towards the end, I guess not everything sits well with me. In particular, there's an arc here that involves infidelity. So I did not exactly like how it was resolved. The good thing about this movie is it's lightweight. Hindi mo na kailangan mag-isip and yun nga, talks about family themes. Alam naman ng movie na to kung ano yung i-cater niya sa audience niya at kung ano yung nag-work. It's just that yung weakness nung original film, while I love it, parang mas na-amplify dito kasi medyo messy yung script niya for me.
Actually, na-appreciate ko yung Zoom call sa start ng movie na to because I think not all of us can remember the names. We know the actresses but we most probably forgot the names of the characters. So, yung Zoom call is in a way, medyo naalala ko, oh, siya si Teddy, siya si Bobby, and I like that. I'm glad na nabanggit mo dito yung issue about infidelity. Yung ending nun also didn't sit well with me, to be honest. With regards sa rush conclusions ng mga plotlines dito, yung sa grandmother nila is practically hindi na-resolve. Parang meron lang sort of epilogue. You have to assume na, okay, that's that. It's resolved now. I think yung sa mga romantic subplots nila, it's funny na nabanggit mo yung kay Chad because pinakita naman dito na Chad is really a flirt, man. Parehas mo, na-confused din ako that this film had some sort of conclusion pero yung dun sa original film, napag-awayan pa rin nila si Chad. And I think another thing that naging problem dito sa movie na to is since you know what's gonna happen in the future dun sa first film, yung naging character development nila dito isn't really consistent with the conflicts dun sa first movie. So, parang medyo na-cheapen yung moment of realization and pag-uusap nila, the family coming together. Ako, nasa isip ko, while those scenes are happening, like, you're gonna have a problem in the future, like a big problem. Practically kasi dun sa start ng movie na yun is parang aloof na rin sila sa isa't isa. Kung magiging consistent with the character development in this prequel film is hindi talaga siya mag-fit dun sa first film. So, all in all, if you're a fan of the first movie, do I think you should watch this? I think you should, actually. You're gonna have moments of fun dito dahil nga if gusto mo yung mga characters from that cult classic is may enjoy mo dito how they're interpreted as teenagers. You're gonna have fun with that. Also, again, nabanggit ko nga yung a bit of nostalgia from our generation. Pero yun nga, may problem lang talaga ako with regards to execution because it's trying to do so many things. I'm going to give this movie a 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Performances, wala naman akong reklamo. I mean, everyone did their best. It's just that somehow when it all came together with addition of Kakai pa because you needed that wacky adult energy to make this more riotous. Overall, as an ensemble acting piece, may tendency siya na maging OA, shout acting na type. May ganong flaws din naman yung first film. But when it comes to yung transitions of magme-meltdown yung character or may mga grand dialogues, o biglang nagkakaroon ng open forums, siguro mas organic yung transition ng first film. Though, we have to realize na in real life, di naman talaga nangyayari yung mga ganon, no? Na everything ends with a group family hug. This movie can't stand alone. You won't much appreciate this movie if you haven't seen the first film. I'm going to say that this is an unnecessary prequel for me. So, I'm going to give this one a 2.5 out of 5 as well.
And that's it for our review of Four Sisters Before the Wedding. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to us for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows.
Also, let us know what you think in the comment sections down below. Thank you so much guys for watching. Until then, see you on the next one.
Bye bye guys!